These days, wireless internet, broadband, and LAN cables provide fast and easily accessible internet for billions. But back in the day, the internet could only be accessed through phone lines. Dial-up modems took up an entire phone line at home. While a few remote or rural areas are still using dial-up modems today, the rest of us will never have to hear that awful dial-up screeching again. Except in our nightmares and in nostalgic internet videos like this one. Number 19. Butterfinger BBs. There are plenty of discontinued candy products from the 90s. One of the most beloved are Butterfinger BBs. These bite-sized balls of Butterfingers were easy to pop in your mouth and still maintained the full-sized candy bar's unique texture and peanut buttery flavor. Plus, they were advertised by Bart Simpson.
Yeah, well, Barnum says eat my shorts.
Unfortunately, despite the campaign slogan warning that nobody better lay a finger on our Butterfinger, the BBs were discontinued in 2006.
Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger.
Although no official explanation has been released, some have theorized that the BB's chocolate coating, which melted easily, may have been responsible. While a similar, smaller Butterfinger version was released, called Butterfinger Bites, they never attained the same popularity. Ay caramba.
See you later, homeboy.
Number 18. Encarta Encyclopedia.
You are a learner, questioning the world before you. New Encarta World Atlas from
Red, this is what
During
you
the
get
90s,
for
the internet was not the trusted source of information it
Ow.
is, well,
Ow.
can be today.
Ow,
Online
shit me.
encyclopedias were still in their infancy. Before the rise of Wikipedia, there was another computer-based encyclopedia called Encarta, launched in 1993 and originally packaged in DVD form. This annually updated program contained thousands of informative articles on a wide variety of topics. Not only did Encarta include text, there were also videos, pictures, and even trivia games.
Over 900 exciting enhancements to articles that feature guest essays, historical documents, magazine and newspaper stories from the people who were there.
However, naturally, the rise of online encyclopedias ultimately led to Encarta's downfall, and Microsoft ceased its publishing in 2009. Number 17. Mini-disc players. During the 90s, audio formats were still very much a competition. One often forgotten contender is the mini-disc. Published by Sony, these miniature discs were envisioned as the next big thing to replace
Red.
tapes.
You got 7 votes. Bye-bye.
However, despite proving popular in Sony's native Japan, MD players couldn't find success at a global scale. Record labels didn't take to the format quickly, leaving few albums available initially. Plus, blank MDs were twice as expensive as blank CDs. By the time MP3 players became available, mini discs were on their way out. Although niche markets kept them in circulation until 2013.
Sony mini disc, the future of tape.
Number 16. Zima. The 90s saw a trend of clear drinks, and alcoholic beverages were no exception. Coors got in on the trend and created Zima in 1994, a clear malt beverage intended as an alternative to beer.
What if there wasn't any beer? Sorry, guys. Never heard of it.
And on shift.
Oh, Zima. Zima's good.
Gotcha,
While the
green.
beer found more success among young women, Coors did their best to market it towards a male consumer base. In the end, most didn't especially enjoy the taste, and the product began disappearing from shelves, at least in the West. Coors discontinued Zima in North America in 2008, but the beverage remained popular in Japan until 2021.
I had a Zima once. I don't get it.
Number 15. Pogs. Playground games come and go. During the early 90s, the biggest one was easily milk caps or Pogs.
They're pogs. They're milk caps. They're pogs. It's a game. You stack them, and then you rack them.
Players would stack cardboard discs with pictures printed on them.
kill
Anything
Blue.
from cartoons to sports logos. Then another larger disc called a slammer was used to knock down as many Pogs as possible. Because each player would often keep the Pogs won this way, it was viewed by many schools as a form of gambling, leading to widespread bans. When kids can't play something at school, it tends to kill the popularity pretty quickly. While they're technically still around and there are variants on the game worldwide, Pog's popularity is far from what it used to be. Number 14. CRT computer monitors. Before and during the 90s, Most screens were created using CRT, or cathode ray tube technology. Naturally, computer screens were no exception. These big, bulky monitors sat on our desks and are how many of us first experienced computing. But the last few decades have seen the rise of LCD, OLED, and plasma monitors, which are cheaper and generally have larger screens than CRT monitors. Some people, particularly computer gamers, still prefer CRTs because they don't have as much input lag and can display images in multiple resolutions more easily. In general, though, these guys have been mostly phased out. Number 13, gaming magazines. Video games were still considered a niche industry in the 90s, so they weren't mainstream enough to be covered extensively on TV or the still newfangled internet.
It was all about running out to the mailbox to find that new issue of that video game magazine.
Enter gaming magazines. If you were a 90s gamer, chances are you were subscribed to one or more gaming magazines. Electronic Gaming Monthly, Nintendo Power, Computer Gaming World, Tips and Tricks. These publications gave gamers detailed articles on upcoming games, walkthroughs, cheat codes, and reviews. Plus, they had a surprising level of reader interaction for major publications. Tragically, most gaming magazines ceased publication as the rise of internet journalism made the old monthly issue model obsolete. Why wait to read about it in a magazine?
Brown, you got 4 of those.
Number 12, floppy disks. Movable computer storage in the 90s used to take the form of small 3.5-inch floppy disks, although the name is a bit misleading for those disks, which, unlike the disks of the 80s, weren't floppy at all. When you needed to save or move information between computers, floppy disks were everyone's go-to. You just popped them into the fabled A drive and off you went. They were so widely used that the save icon in most programs is still the floppy disk to this day. But as technology progressed and storage capacity and needs expanded beyond a few hundred kilobytes, floppy disks are no longer in wide circulation. But if you're missing them, they're still sometimes used for emergency booting in older systems and in other industries like aeronautics. Number 11, appointment TV. Once upon a time, we scheduled our lives around what was on TV. This was because if you didn't see a show or a sporting event when it aired, you didn't see it at all. Each time an episode aired, everyone was talking about it the next day. And sure, sometimes you could tape a show and watch it later, but sometimes working VCRs was more art than science. Appointment television was the norm, and so networks did big ratings when a show hit it big.
All your favorites and all new must-see shows!
Of course, streaming platforms now make it easy to binge shows or watch them at your own pace. While some streaming series do release episodes weekly and the concept is making something of a comeback, appointment TV isn't mainstream again.
Gonna have him.
This is the way.
Having a Buster Safari.
This is the way.
Number 10, Y2K Camp.
Doug, everyone here is waiting for the same thing, the stroke of midnight.
We all know that the human race and planet Earth are not going to be around forever. But with the new millennium on the horizon, many believed the year 2000 was going to initiate the collapse of society.
Now, the federal government is comparing Y2K to a huge natural disaster, like an earthquake, a hurricane, or a tornado that disrupts people's lives for days, weeks, or maybe even months.
In the 90s, several computer experts warned that because many computer systems represented years using only the last 2 digits, computers would mix up 1900 and 2000. This led some folks to buy up food and supplies to tide them through an imminent apocalypse. But
and now Black got
the world stepped into the new millennium with minimal issues.
It hit midnight and nothing happened. It was like crickets in the newsroom.
While we have dealt with a few other end-of-the-world fears afterwards, like 2012, none quite reached the same level of paranoia.
The end of the world is coming. So come on, get your radiation suits.
Okay. Number 9, Windows 95 3D Maze. Screensavers aren't all that common anymore now that most of our devices have a sleep function to conserve power. In the 90s,
Red got killed.
Screensaver you'd see in many homes. The Windows 95 3D Maze. Here, you're basically watching your computer play a video game as it automatically takes left turns until finding the smiley face, thus resetting and generating a whole new maze. There is something really mesmerizing about it between the artificial intelligence and guessing where the face might end up. Honestly, why hasn't Microsoft made a full-fledged game out of this? Number 8, the Delia's Catalog. If you weren't sure what to wear for the girls' night or the high school dance, you probably referred to this mail-in catalog of fashion. Founded in 1993, Delia's was the go-to catalog for teens who wanted to wear the latest clothes and fashion trends. Unfortunately, Delia
And
would be
now
buried
got
by
killed in
in addition to
Naboo.
being spun off and acquired on a few occasions as time
Oh
went
my
on. By
god!
the end of 2014, Delia's filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and liquidated all of its stores.
I declare
And now you look at child.
While it tried to bounce back as an online-only store in 2015, this venture was a complete failure. Now, you can only get their clothing through the Dolls Kill brand.
Only one
Number
left.
7. Orbitz. Yes, it's the magical BD beverage that is featured on many a Watch Mojo
And
list.
now Coral got
Is it
killed.
a bug? Did someone mistake your beer for an empty and put their cigarette butt in there? With Orbitz, there was no mistake. This obscure, non-carbonated drink was manufactured with a small variety of flavors to quench your thirst and hunger. From raspberry citrus to vanilla
Again.
orange, the beads and beverage made for a unique type of drink. Alas, Orbitz would live a seriously short life because of its terrible commercial performance. Given the presence of gellan gum and high sugar, one can hazard a guess at why folks weren't picking these up off the shelves, especially when seeing the edible orbs inside. Number 6, the iMac G3.
I think I go
Gotta
for
see
the
this thing in
Chewy
person,
Sloth
but I'll do the best I can with
lobby.
video.
Apple's Mac computers have come a long way. Today, design is all about improving battery life, making everything as thin as possible, and getting berated about updating iTunes even if we don't use it. But in the late 90s, a common Mac computer looked about as chunky as a CRT television set.
The faster.
She am the imposter. Stop, that means I'm going to imposter safari.
iMac.
The teal-colored Macs with their translucent Bondi blue shells were especially a huge success for Apple. But looking
Here
back,
I
these
am,
desktop computers were
going
also
for an
incredibly healthy and
imposter
awkwardly
safari.
shaped. That's because it wasn't just a monitor. This was the computer itself.
Heated leather seats sold separately.
Just seeing pictures of these makes us glad schools are using laptops instead. Number 5, PB Crisps. Yeah, we gotta squeeze another food product in here, and this is another snack that's popped up on our lists before. PB Crisps was a special kind of sweet treat from Planters, consisting of peanut-shaped cookies filled with peanut butter inside.
Inside the center so sweet. Peanut butter cream. Oh, a treat.
And if you wanted an addition to peanut butter, you could buy bags of the cookies that were also filled with chocolate or strawberry. Sadly, these snacks were not around for long due to low demand, and have become a relic of the 1990s. To this day, there is still a group of dedicated fans clamoring for the product's return, even going as far as to make a website dedicated to the products. Number 4, AIM, also known as AOL Instant Messenger. It's been a hot minute since we heard anything remotely relevant to AOL. While AOL currently exists and was acquired by Verizon in 2015, AIM ceased operations in December 2017.
Kill you before you finish, yo.
We're shocked too. This service was introduced way back in 1997
Kill you,
and
white.
became the leading messaging service in North America for roughly a decade.
Wherever I go, I stay connected with everyone in my life. It's really easy to stay in touch.
But as tech giants like Google and Facebook started taking over, AIM lost all purpose.
What am I evolving into?
Yeah!
No, tell me.
The two companies had better services and better security. Slowly but surely, AIM would begin shutting down features one by one, starting in 2007, before disappearing completely a decade later.
Having failed to keep up with ever-evolving technology, we're forced to say TTFN to the iconic service and a simpler time. We can only hope will BRB.
PTYL.
Number 3, Netscape Navigator.
She was 18 years old. Doesn't even know what Netscape is.
These days, we have dozens of web browsers vying for our attention, from Google Chrome to Mozilla Firefox to Safari to DuckDuckGo. We remember way back when the internet was a baby that there was only one browser to use, Netscape Navigator. This browser was created in 1994, and for a short time, went uncontested in the industry.
Well, what about all those other low-cost guys like...
Don't you want an ISP that's fast, safer, reliable, and more secure?
What happened to cause such decline? Well, Internet Explorer happened. Then Chrome, Firefox, Safari, all of them. Netscape would receive its final update in 2007 before ceasing support and development the year after.
Everything has to change faster, obviously. You know, look at Netscape. It was born and died I don't want to use the word died, they wouldn't like that word, but it basically was born and overtaken within 4 years. That's pretty fast.
Number 2, the Discman. Like Walkmans in the 80s, Discmans became a crucial part of our lives. There just wasn't anything like going on a walk or exercising while jamming out to the newest albums. Besides radios, this was pretty much the way to listen to music. Of course, as we find new ways to store data, we also kill off part of a medium. Nowadays, we can just open Spotify on our phones and jam to anything we desire without having to eject a CD and holster something chunky on our waist. Still, there is something tactile to be missed here.
Your ears will tell you. It's not only what you play, it's what you play it on.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, video rental stores.
Oh! Jesus, this place is back tonight, man.
Those who grew up in the 80s, 90s, or 2000s fondly look back on video rental stores. While the very first such stores opened in the late 70s, it was in the 90s that bigger brands like Hollywood Video and Blockbuster boomed in demand. For some families, weekly trips to these stores would become a tradition as new movies made their way to the shelves and movie buffs sought out hidden gems.
Wow!
This industry would decline, however, as Netflix and streaming services became more and more prominent. Hollywood Video would go defunct in 2010, while Blockbuster enjoys a few thousand customers through its last and only store, located in Bend, Oregon.
When you see them all next to each other, it's kind of makes it easier, but with on Netflix you only see the
I have 26
but you have to scroll through it, and it takes a while to get through all